some of you touched on this a little bit already, but I wouldn't mind knowing. How did you all come to teach the way that you do? Often, many of us got our start teaching a lecture class. I know I certainly did. How did you come to change your class, or decide to change your class this way?
I'll go. So around 2005, I went to a national meeting of biology instructors and heard what some other people were doing. This was the early age of clickers and such, and we'd done some of that in our labs. It happened to be the most successful thing in the world. Technology was not working great, but found out that physics and to some degree chemistry had already kind of led the way in the natural sciences with this, and biology was on the cusp of moving into this, and got to talk to people at other universities that were trying to implement some degree of active learning into their classrooms rather than just traditional lecture. And was introduced to some of the studies showing how much better this works for learning. So I kind of felt like malpractice to come back and not try to start doing it in some way.
I had had friends who had started, other peers who teach who were trying to bring in some active learning into their classrooms, and they would tell me about it, and I would think, oh, well, that's interesting. And I was skeptical, as you'd expect, because I started out as a lecturer too, although like Melissa, I did do some group activity, work time to time to break things up. And then I knew that we would be creating a special room in the Haley Center to accommodate active learning, and I was really intrigued, as Scott was saying, that some of the results were coming in as to how effective it was. And I saw the Eric Mazur lecture, and I thought, I want to give that a try. Then if I don't like it, I can go revert to my skeptical ways. And that's why I started about a year and a half before the room was finished and ready, moving these techniques in. More in the summer before I started in the new room, I just took that small summer class I had and just did the whole summer session as active learning, and it worked. And the results seemed to back up what the research was saying and what my peers had been telling me. So I got on the list to get in that active learning classroom and haven't looked back since. It does take adjustment when you are brought up in the lecture style to make that adjustment, but it's worth it.
Scott mentioned Eric Mazur. If anyone has not seen that, you need to watch the full hour. Don't watch the abbreviated version because you need to get the full thrust of the argument. Confessions of a Converted Lecturer. That's one of those paradigm-shifting experiences if you've never gone through it.
I will say for me, I was seeking better teacher evaluations because lecture tends to just be boring. And that's the honest truth. And students will write that, and they will write that ruthlessly. And so when you're looking for ways to make yourself better, to try something new, to go beyond group work, but actually, I think one bigger shift for us, and active learning is a really huge shift in our department, is we knew as instructors what was important to students, but we never made it important to them. We made it assignments. So you have to shift to where they care, or at least you try to get them to care. And active learning can do that in a much better way than when they know coming in, this class is going to be where I sit and I maybe will take notes. For the most part, my students in lectures take pictures with their phones now of the slides, and it's not even writing it down. So there's not even that moment of transfusing the knowledge into them. It's just, as long as it's saved on my phone, I can pull it up during the test. And that's not our goal, right? That's not Auburn University's goal. That's not our instructor's goal. So better teacher evals is one motivation, but the other is to be a real instructor, you instruct, and active learning is a great tool for doing that.
For us also the technology helped us because now everybody has a smartphone or a computer, and also the software. Now we can run software on the web, so that was a big help for us. So we can have interaction with students immediately in terms of solving problems and running, directly on the web some software that in general we can find it just specialized one. So that was a big help, and the technology helped us, with this interaction with the students.
Right, and I can corroborate that too. Dan talking about the technology. I use Canvas, our learning management system, a great deal, and it makes it easier to integrate the assignments, the purpose into the active learning if you can get the technology to work along with you.
Absolutely. We also, one thing that we shifted was we've incorporated the cell phones into the class. So now in our syllabi, we've removed the line about make sure you don't have a cell phone and put your backpack to the side of the classroom. We took it out. We've made it where if you're on your phone and I walk past, as long as you're doing something related to the class, even if it's Googling a term you don't know, that's great. We want you to do that, and now phones aren't a problem. We don't worry about them as much, and students aren't purposefully trying to ignore you with them. It's like if you're tweeting, I hope you're tweeting about how cool Miss V is. So, and if I see that, that's what I'll say, and then they put it down, they're like, that's not fun anymore. I'm not being rebellious. She just likes it.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I've had a couple of students say something about, it's no fun to get cell phones out in your class. We're using, in my class, we're using Learning Catalytics, which is a platform I can talk on and on about, but I won't, 'cause I don't want to take up the whole time today, but I'll happily talk to any of you about that, and we can even get together some other time and talk more about how it works. But it's a very flexible platform, works through any field for you to put questions of many, many different types up for the students to do, and they just go to the side on their cell phone and do it.
How long are your lecture periods?
Mine are 50 minutes for Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and an hour and 15 for Tuesday, Thursday sections.
Mine too.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, in the School of Nursing, we're looking at 3 to 4 hours sometimes.
Is that a 1 day a week class then? Okay.
There's a lot of opportunity there because I have found that in my 50-minute classes, I sometimes run out of time. So I have to think on the fly about next week and how I'm going to wrap up and do that. What did you learn from this? So there's a lot of opportunity with that many hours.
Yeah,
Kind of
Melissa's
jealous.
absolutely right, because active learning is going to take more time than traditional lectures, although again, it's worth it. So, a 3-hour once a week session to break it up, yeah, it should work for you.
Mhm.